Hi, everyone. My name is Jessica Head. I'm the Associate Director of Residence Life and Involvement here at Wingate. I'm coming from you all from my backyard here in Wingate. And so while we can't all be together today, we are looking forward to being together with you all in August. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about our office, residence life, and involvement. So our office is pretty unique in the sense that it oversees not only housing operations and residence life, but also our student activities, fraternity and sorority life, SGA, and community connections. And so within our office, our mission is to create an inclusive environment and meaningful experiences that promote learning and foster connections so that students develop and thrive. Thrive is something that you will see throughout your time living with us, whether it's in programming or connections that we're making. This is an important piece of what we do. Everyone feels included and involved, and our goal is to make sure that Wingate and where you're living and where you're involved becomes really truly your home away from home. So in our office, like I said, went a little too fast, sorry. We oversee a couple different areas. And so with that, we have several different staff members that oversee different things. And so our office is located on the first floor of Alumni Hall. In our office, you'll find a variety of different staff members. This also includes our central staff. This staff, we oversee residence life and student activities. We have our staff members that oversee our registered student orgs and fraternity and sorority life. And so the central staff, again, is located there. You'll find our associate dean and director of residence life, Brandy Schott, myself, our assistant director of housing operations, Daniel Meadows, our graduate assistant, Delisha, who oversees our registered student orgs. We also all have a hand playing into student activities and fraternity and sorority life. In our halls, we have several different positions. Our area coordinators, also known as our ACs, they're professional staff members that live and work in the buildings. They oversee the student staff, so they're RAs in the building, and oversee the day-to-day of the buildings. And so our ACs and our resident directors both facilitate that role. The resident directors are grad students who also live and work in the halls, oversee the staff, and maintain the areas. And so you'll find our area coordinators, Liz Shepard and Rebecca Shaw in Northeast and Cannon Sam Black. And then our resident directors are in our other areas. And so for you all, your resident director in JM Smith and alumni is Michaela Martin. And so those are our three staff members, Rebecca, Liz, and Michaela, who work and live in our first year areas. Again, they supervise the RAs. If there's a front desk in the building, they oversee that. If you have issues with a roommate, they're the person to go to. They're there. They live, they work in the building. They're there to help you and help through your transition. And so we also have student positions as our RAs. So there's an RA on every single floor, and in some buildings there are multiple RAs on the floor. These are student staff members who have been in your shoes before, and they've had this experience as a first-year student, and they now want to be able to give back to the students that they serve. And so they live on the hallway with you all. Each of you have an RA that will be assigned to you that lives on your hallway with you, and they're there to help you through your transition. And so whether you're struggling with the transition and you need some help talking about homesickness, they're there to help with that. They're also there to help you celebrate when you're doing really awesome and you aced your chemistry final. And so they're there to help you throughout whatever is going on in your time living with us. And so they're also doing programs for you all in different events and having conversations with you just about how things are going. They're also helping to help you make friends when that may be needed. So we also have office assistants. So we have student office assistants that work both inside of alumni and then also in Northeast Hall. In The alumni, our office assistants, they're there to help you if you've lost a key, you need help, you're just unsure about something, you've got questions. They're the ones manning our front desk and alumni. They're also there if you need to try and make an appointment with someone in the office, they can help you do that. And so they're there. In Northeast, there's office assistants or desk assistants that are there to help when you've got questions, if you're coming in and out of Northeast or if you're living there. And so our office is very fortunate to be able to employ the more students than most other offices on campus. And so it's also a great opportunity to get involved in different ways through our student involvement opportunities. So first year hall. So this is the super exciting stuff. So we have four first year areas on campus. And so JM Smith is a community style building. It is single gender by floor with community bath. This building also has a classroom on the first floor and common space on all of the on all of the floors. Our BIOS Living Learning Community is housed in JM Smith. And so BIOS is an invitation living learning community that comes from that group. So if you're invited to be in BIOS, you would be living in JM Smith. Northeast is our newest building on campus. It opened in the fall of last year. This building is almost a hybrid between suite and community style. It's a double bedroom that shares a bathroom with a double bedroom next door. So there are a handful of single spaces in this building, and that also have a single bathroom within them. And so again, this is the newest building. It has several study spaces in it, community spaces. It has a convenience store on the first floor, and it has over 5 classrooms on the first floor also. So this, again, is a great building that's located on the far side of campus. New and Old Cannon is our most centralized building on campus. These buildings are kind of connected together. New Cannon traditionally has 1 floor female and 2 floors of male, community baths and laundry on each of the floors. Old Cannon has traditionally always been all female. There are 2 laundry rooms in the building and a kitchen on the first floor. Our Carolina Girls themed community is located in this facility. And so Carolina Girls is a community for in-state and out-of-state female students who are interested in integrating into the Carolina culture. And so things we've done with this community in the past is that, like the photo, they've gone to the pumpkin farm that is local to us. They've worked with the community garden on campus. They've done canvas painting of Carolina landmarks. They've gone ice skating uptown Charlotte. We've taken them to a Panther game. And so we're excited for this community to continue in this area. Alumni is our last first year area. So like I said before, our office is also located in Alumni. So the first floor of Alumni is the Residence Life and Involvement office. And then the second and the third floor are residential spaces. And so these floors are co-ed. So there are 2 bathrooms at the end of the hallway on each of the floors, and we designate which bathroom is male, which bathroom is female. And so the first floor also offers co-gender bathrooms. Alumni staff shares with JM Smith because it's right behind each other. Amenities. So several different amenities on campus. This photo that you all can see is Northeast, which like we talked about previously is a first year area. And so all of our laundry is free. So you don't need to worry about stashing away all those quarters all summer. You can go straight up to the laundry and get it started without quarters. So you can tell your aunt they can keep sending you those quarters and you can just use them for something else. We offer wireless internet across campus. You can also in your room hardwire in. Most students use the wireless though. All of our beds are extra long twin beds, so you will need extra long sheets. We have community kitchens in all of our buildings, and so you will need to provide your own like pots and pans and uh, like bowls and stuff like that. The kitchens do not offer those, but we do have community kitchens. So if you are just dying to make your roommate your grandma's cookie recipe, we got you settled. We have vending in all of our buildings. And so, when you're pulling that all nighter and you feel like you really need that honey bun, it's ready for you, just waiting for you. And so there's vending in all of the buildings. We also have common space in most of the buildings. Most of these areas have couches and TVs that are available for our students. Also, not just for hangout space, but also for study space. Great space if you need or want to have group study sessions. If you have multiple people in your hallway that are in your chemistry class together, it's a great space to be able to come together. We also have classrooms in some of our buildings. Smith has a classroom, and then Northeast has several classrooms in them. And so this is nice if you have a class there because your commute to class just got super short. You can just walk right downstairs and class is there waiting for you. Okay, assignments and roommates. So this is where we get the most questions. So before I go into this, I'm going to show you all a quick video. Okay, so we would like for you to be best friends, just like these two guys have been, even though they go through some turmoil later on in the movie. We want for you to have a good relationship with your roommate. We also want to make sure that safety happens. And so, sorry. We also want to make sure that safety and precautions are happening. And so let's try not to bunk your beds like that, but using the proper tools. Wait for this to reload. Okay, so housing assignment process. So if you haven't filled out your housing application yet, you would need to do that next. That would be your next step. And so for those of you that already have, it is super important, whether you have or haven't, that when you're filling that out, that you are honest. It asks questions about when you like to go to bed, the temperature you like in your room, when you like to study, stuff like that. We use that information so that we can make you the best match possible for your roommate. And so let's say mom filled out your housing application and she said that you like a super clean room, you go to bed at 8 o'clock, and you don't like studying with music. And all of that is not true. You're going to get paired with a roommate that likely is going to represent those qualities, and you may have some issues right off the bat. And so if you need to make amendments to your housing application and what you've already filled out, you can just contact us at res.life@wingate.edu, and we can help make those changes on your housing application. It happens every year. It's okay. Sometimes we just become a little overzealous. And sometimes we also put what we want, maybe not who we are. And so make sure that we're being honest so that you're not setting either yourself or your roommate up to fail from the get-go. And so what happens? Okay, so you fill out this survey. Our system matches you with someone that we feel is similar in those qualities that you talked about. You all will get your housing assignments in mid-July. And when you get your housing assignment, you will also get your move-in day assignment. Move-in day will happen on 2 days, and we will assign you a time frame to come on one of those 2 days in order to limit the amount of people on campus at once. And so, again, those will go out mid-July. So, keys to a positive roommate relationship. This is super, super, super important. Open communication and mutual respect. You cannot have a successful relationship with anyone if you're not willing to have open communication and mutual respect. So that means that when you need to talk to your roommate about something, it is important to have a face-to-face conversation that happens verbally between the two of you, not a face-to-face conversation with your phone over text, not subtweeting on Twitter. You need to talk to them. Leaving a passive-aggressive sticky note, also not a really good idea. It's important to have those conversations. And so if something is going on and you're not happy about it, you need to talk about it. Because if you don't talk about it, it's hard to be able to fix what the issue is. And your roommate may not actually be aware of what the issue is. And so sharing expectations and compromising, also super important. For a lot of you, this could be the first time that you've ever had to share a room with someone. And so it should be a really great experience, and we hope that you're able to make good friends out of it. But through that, you need to share your expectations and you need to compromise. If your roommate really wants the room to be at 68 and you really want it to be at 75, it's important for you all to work together to meet in the middle. If you're like, no, I will only have it at 75, then that's just not good relationship building from the get-go. My husband tells me I'm a bad roommate sometimes, and I have to know that I'm willing to change my habits. And so while I am used to just kicking my shoes off and putting them wherever I want, he tells me I'm a bad roommate because I just leave my shoes everywhere and he doesn't want to trip on them when he's walking across the living room. And so I know if I want to have a successful relationship, that I need to put my shoes away. And so those are things that are important, not just in living with someone as a roommate, but also hopefully in future skills in your life. And so, again, open communication, mutual respect, sharing expectations, and compromise, all super important things when you're working with your roommate. We will help with those sharing of the expectations. When you arrive onto campus, you will be sent a digital roommate agreement. You will work through that roommate agreement with your roommate and submit it. In this roommate agreement, it will go over things such as temperature, guest, shared things in the room, study time, all of those types of things. And you two are going to have a conversation about all of those areas and kind of document what you've come up with. Now, if you're like, whatever, just do whatever, I just want to be easy peasy, and then things aren't going well because maybe it just was one person who filled it out. There could become a point in time where maybe there might be conflict between the two of you. And that's okay because we're going to be there to help you work through that. We have students all the time that come to us and they say, I need to move out now. My roommate and I cannot agree upon the temperature. Okay, well, have you talked about it? No. Have you told your RA about it? No. Okay, well, let's go back to square one. You need to have a conversation with your roommate about it. If you're not comfortable doing that by yourself, we can have the RA step in. Let's say you had the conversation and nothing has changed. You then would talk to your RA, and your RA would help to facilitate a time where someone would come in to go over the roommate agreement with you all again and maybe make changes or maybe help you all find that compromising environment so that we can make a new idea for what the semester will look like living together. There could become a point in time that it's just not going to work, and we will work with you on it at that point in time. But it is important that we go through those steps first. If you come to us and you say, I just need to move out because we can't agree on the temperature, we're going to take it back and we're going to try and work through it with you all. Now, there could always become a case where you come to us and something is happening and we would work to do a move. But more often than not, we're gonna send you back and we're gonna work with you to help find a common ground between the two parties. Most times when we have students come to us needing and wanting a room change, it's because they haven't even had the conversation with their roommate about what's going on. And so that doesn't also become fair to your roommate either. And so having that conversation is super important for your relationship and for where you're living. Everyone should feel comfortable where they are living. And sometimes you got to work to make that comfortable because, again, you're sharing a space with someone else. And so, um, all very important things. My roommate, my freshman year, became a really good friend of mine. We are still friends. I went into the process totally randomly, wanted to kind of have an opportunity to meet new people. And so it worked out really well for me. I have friends who it didn't work out as well, and they were just roommates with them and didn't establish a relationship further along. And that's okay. We want for you to be friends with your roommate, but it's not a requirement. And so sometimes they're just your roommate, and sometimes they can become your best friend. Okay, so our residential curriculum. Our residential curriculum is called Thrive. Again, I told you at the beginning, this is a word that you would hear frequently. What our residential curriculum is and what that does is it kind of helps to say that the learning doesn't stop when you leave the classroom. There are life skills that we believe that you should still be developing both in and outside of the classroom. And we've committed what we do in our programming efforts with the students to make sure that these goals are being hit. And so our learning goals within our curriculum are engaged citizenship, engaged learning, interpersonal development, and inclusive perspectives. And so these are areas that we develop our programming around very intentionally so that you're learning and growing in these areas every single year that you're living with us. And so when you come in as a first year student, you may have some knowledge in these areas, and every year you're living with us, we're hoping that we're guiding you and helping you grow in these areas or more each year, so that when you graduate and you're spending your last year with us, you're becoming proficient in these areas. And so the largest part of this is our Bulldog chats. And so what Bulldog chats are is these are intentional one-on-one conversations between the RA and the student. And so your RA will conduct these with you 4 times during the academic year. So twice each semester, your RA is going to reach out and say, "Hi, it's time for me to do your Bulldog chat. When's a good time for us to chat?" We realize that with COVID and the way that things are right now, these are likely not going to be face-to-face conversations. And so your RA will work with you to set up what that will look like for them and for you, and what's the most convenient for you all. What's important in these chats, the RAs are kind of given some guides of conversations, but we really want for this to be a fluid, open conversation. They're going to ask you things such as, how are you doing? How are classes? How are things with your roommate? How are you transitioning? What are you getting involved with? What do you want to get involved with? Because they're trying to help you to see, are you doing well? Do you need some assistance? Or should someone else reach out? Let's say that you tell your RA, "I'm really struggling in bio, like just not doing well, and I don't know what to do." They're going to then follow up and ask you questions to say, "Have you gone to tutoring yet? Have you looked into that?" "No, I haven't." They're then going to connect you with that resource so that you have that. They may also say, "Hey, your neighbor is also in bio and actually said they're doing really well. Are you in their class? Have you met them yet?" So they're going to help make these connections for you because we want to make sure that you're successful. Now, the key to this is if you go into the conversation and you're like, "Yep, everything's good, everything's great, but things really aren't doing well. You're not doing well in classes, you're struggling with the transition, you really miss home, all of these things." If you're not willing or able to tell your RA those things, we're not able to help you. We can't help with what we don't know. And so make sure that you're being honest with them because they have a lot of different resources that they can help connect you with. If they don't know that you're struggling to make friends, they may not know where to connect you on the hallway with other folks that may also be struggling or that have common interests. If they don't know that you really want to get involved in a club, they don't know that to invite you to take you with. And so make sure that you're being open and honest with them, and you're telling them how things are truly going so that they can help you, because that's what they're there for. So involvement opportunities. This is one of my favorite parts of what we do, is providing opportunities to get you all involved and invested on campus. And so Welcome Week is the very first thing that happens when you all come onto campus. I will preference to say Welcome Week will look a little bit different this year due to COVID, but we will still offer it. It will just look, and be a little adjusted so that we make sure that we're maintaining safe distance and protocols. So during Welcome Week, there's lots of events that are going on. Things such as street fair. Street fair traditionally is an event where the promenade is just lined up with tons of tables of different student organizations, fraternities and sororities, athletic groups, businesses in our local community that are handing out resources and helping to show you all the things that we offer. Again, street fair will look a little bit different, but it'll still be offered in a different kind of way. And so this week, again, different organizations are hosting things. We have tons of different stuff going on campus. Traditionally, there's always a movie, all sorts of stuff to help welcome you to campus. Our Bulldog Activity Resource Committee is what we call BARC. This is our student-run committee that offers programming throughout the semester for our students. And so this is things such as movies, trivia nights, concerts, comedians, stress relief events, painting, all sorts of different stuff. They offer this. Again, it's a student-run committee. It's also a great way to get involved on campus. BARC traditionally has a student volunteer committee, which has students who are volunteering and setting up for events and running events, wanting to get involved. They're earning hours to get prizes. And a lot of our students that end up on our exec board committee are coming from our involvement group in that. And so it's a great way to get involved and also to go out and meet people during events. BARC also hosts our tradition events, such as Homecoming. They help with Welcome Week, and Springgate, which Springgate has traditionally been our end of year week of events that happen during the last week of class. Our Student Government Association is also another great way to get involved on campus. For those of you that were involved in student council, this is the university's version of that. And so they're there to help hear the students and to help make change when that change is needed. And so SGA also sponsors different events on campus. They hold monthly forums for campus. Things that they've done. So last year there was concern about lighting on campus, and they worked with different campus authorities in order to get more lighting on campus, and also to help switch out some of the lighting so that it would be brighter. And so they're there to help make change for our student body. Our registered student orgs. So we have over 60 registered student orgs, or RSOs, that have 20 or more members on campus. And so these are clubs such as the Ukulele Club, our Black Student Union, there's a knitting club, there's all sorts of different clubs that fall into all sorts of different interests that our students run. And so if you get to campus and you are like, I'm really into tricycles, but really want to start the tricycle club, all you need is 5 people and an advisor, and you can start an RSO yourself. And so we think that we cover a lot of different interests and ideas within our RSOs, but there's always opportunity to create new ones as students are interested in doing so. So yeah, super awesome, different options there. Fraternity and sorority life. We offer 4 female sororities and 5 male fraternities. Out of those male fraternities, 3 of those are NPHC organizations, which are historically African American organizations. And so this is another good way in order to get involved on campus. The nice part about the fraternity and sorority life is that it's something that doesn't just last while you are in college. These are lifelong brotherhood and sisterhoods that you can become a part of They give back to our local and larger communities. They're also super active on campus, being involved in a lot of the things that we've already talked about. And so it's just another way to get involved on campus and in something that can be bigger than yourself. I was in a sorority on campus when I was in college, and it was one of the best things that I ever did. It helped me meet some of my best friends, people that I'm still friends with today. And so I tell people all the time, joining the sorority that I did gave back to me more than it ever did while I was in college, because it's been more impactful for me in my adult life. Because again, still my best friends, our children grow up together, we vacation together, and I still find the opportunities to give back in my community through my sorority. And so when I was in college, I was a super involved student. I was on our SGA. I was in a bunch of RSOs. I was an RA, an orientation leader in a sorority. I did all sorts of stuff. And so being involved helped me to find my passion area. That's helped me to lead into my career field. My husband was also super involved, and that's how we met. And so a lot of my friends I met that way. And so these are all great ways in order to get involved, but also to help make Wingate feel like home. A lot of times when we talk to students who aren't transitioning well, it's because they've not found things to get involved with. And so when you get to campus, if you're struggling to find things or you just feel overwhelmed by the variety of options, you can make an appointment with any of us in the office. You can also talk to your RA. Your RA is going to be a great resource in order to help you through this transition. Your PAW leader currently is also going to be a great resource to talk about the different things that they're involved with and how it's been impactful for them. And we hope that your relationship with your PAW leader doesn't just exist during the summer. This is something that you all can continue on with, and they can help serve as a mentor. Okay, so safety, super important on campus. Safety is always important. And so campus safety is on campus. They're located behind the post office that is located on campus. They are available 24 hours a day. These numbers are very important. And so I would recommend going ahead and putting in the two numbers on here into your phone so that you have them. If you need to report something, if you are locked out of your room, if someone is being super noisy, rules are being broken, you just want an escort on campus in the sense that, let's say you're leaving the library late at night and you just want someone to walk with you, you can call them. Campus safety, again, is available 24 hours a day. Residence Life on call is also available 24 hours a day. The campus safety number you can just call. The Residence Life on call number you can call and or text. And so this number is our graduate RDs. They're carrying a phone. They're available 24 hours a day. When I said that you can call or text this number, I would recommend that if it's 2 a.m. and you need something, you should probably call them. They're asleep. They likely are not going to wake up to a text message. But you can call either of these numbers if you're ever in need of something. The Residence Life on call is better suited where if you've got a noise complaint, if you've got a question about dining hours, you're not sure who your advisor is, if you've got just questions, you can call them. You also, if you're just not feeling well, you can call them. So let's say you just are feeling kind of lost and just not yourself. You can give them a call and they can either come over or talk to you on the phone or help direct you in the right resource. And so they're there to help. If you need to get in contact with your RA and you're having trouble doing so, you can contact that number and they can help get you in the right direction. Wingate Police is located right across the street from campus. We have a very strong working relationship with them. They patrol campus throughout the day. So while they're not physically on campus, they are in very close proximity, and oftentimes they are driving around campus. And so they have a very, very quick response time. We also have a close relationship with the Wingate Fire Department and the EMS. A lot of times you will see the EMS parked on campus. It's not because there's always something going on. Sometimes they're just kind of there to stay in close proximity. And then the Wingate Fire Department is literally right down the street from us. And so very quick response times. So a few safety tips to note. You should always have your room key and your card. Your card for a lot of you will be access into the building. Your key is going to be your access into your room. If you don't have those, it's going to be hard getting into your space because you should always have your room locked. For whatever reason, I don't really understand. Students don't lock their doors. You should always lock your doors. You would lock your front door at your home, and so there's no reason why you shouldn't lock your door to your room in your residence hall. Things that are also just important to know, making sure that you're having these numbers loaded into your phone in case you ever need them. But yeah, make sure you've got your key. Also, if you ever lose your key or your card, we can help you out on the first floor of alumni to get you a new card made and a new key. So oftentimes we have people that will, at the end of the year, they go in to turn in all their stuff and they're like, I lost my key like first semester of the year. And it's like, what have you done all year? Oh, I've just called campus safety and waited for my roommate. Don't do that. Get a new key. Okay, so I'm going to talk through a couple rules and policies. We will go more into these when you move in, but I'm just going to hit and highlight some points. So quiet hours and courtesy hours. It's important that we're always courteous of those people that are living around us. And so we do have 24-hour courtesy hours. This means that if you really need like pump up music to get ready for class, that you, and your first class is at 10, that you probably shouldn't be like blaring music so that the entire building or the entire hallway can hear you at 10 a.m. You should be conscious of those that are around you. They could be studying, they could still be sleeping. So just make sure that you're courteous of the noise level. Quiet hours. So on weeknights, so school nights, so Sunday through Thursday, quiet hours start at midnight. So that means it's quiet midnight through the morning. On weekends, so Friday and Saturday night, quiet hours start at 2 a.m. So at 2 a.m., we're quiet. Again, we want to be conscious and courteous of those folks that are living around us that may not want to be, listening to Lizzo all night. Visitation. Our visitation policy notes that overnight guests cannot stay more than 3 nights in a 2-week period. We also note that if you are planning on having an overnight guest in your room, that you should have consent from your roommate. And so let's say that your boyfriend or girlfriend is coming in and are staying the weekend. That's fine because you fit within the time frame, but you need to have a conversation with your roommate and make sure that they are okay with it. Let's also note, if you're having an overnight guest, you should never let them sleep in your roommate's bed unless they say it's okay. We end up having lots of roommate conflicts over this. And so, again, when we talk about compromise and conversation, something important to have conversations about. Alcohol and drug and controlled substances. We follow state and federal laws. And so for alcohol, if you are under the age of 21, you should not have it in your possession. Yeah, that's the rules. Drug and controlled substances, again, we follow state and federal regulation, and so you shouldn't have them. You also should not have prescription medicine unless it is prescribed to you. And so important things just to note. Smoking and vaping. You cannot do this in the residence hall. We are a tobacco-free campus, so tobacco and cigarettes are not allowed on campus. Vaping is allowed, but you have to be 15 feet away from a building in order to do so. Again, I cannot stress enough that you should not smoke or vape in the residence halls. You will set off the fire alarm and you will be the most hated person in the building when you all are standing outside in the cold at 2 a.m. So don't do it. Don't think that you can just do it and no one will know. I promise you it will set off the fire alarm and then that is not pretty for you. Health and safety checks. These traditionally happen monthly. We're just going into the room to make sure that it's not a total pigsty and that you don't have things that you shouldn't have in there. And so, Mom, don't worry. We'll make sure that there's not 2-month-old mac and cheese sitting in there. If we go into a space and it is a pure disaster, we're going to leave a note, or we'll send you an email saying, hey, you didn't pass your health and safety check. We'll recheck in 24 hours. And so the student, you have 24 hours to kind of clean up your space and throw away that pizza box from 4 months ago, so that we'll come back and make sure it's good. This is just to make sure that the space is being maintained appropriately. Community standards process. Again, all of these policies fall into the student handbook. All of the policies are in the student handbook, and you can read more about them there. Let's say you get caught with alcohol. Let's say you're trying to throw a party in your room and someone stops by and you get caught. You're going to go through the community standards process. And so what's going to happen is that the staff that finds it, they're going to document what they see and what is happening. It will then go to community standards, to our director of community standards, April. April is going to distribute the case out. You as a student will get an email from someone to set up a meeting. In this meeting, you're just going to talk about what happened. They're going to ask you questions. You're going to be able to answer and also give a synopsis of the situation. And then there may or may not be a sanctioning that happens. And so if you were just there and you weren't participating, you have the opportunity to be able to say that. And the person hearing the case gets to decide, based on all the information that they're gathering, what happens from there. And so you will not get thrown out of school for having alcohol one time. But if it is a repeat offense, not to say you're going to get thrown out of school, the repercussions get harsher as they go on. And so most students, they may get in trouble once and they are not actually repeat offenders. We realize that it's college, and that you're going to experience different things, and you're also going to experiment with new things. And so our hope is, and our process is that when or if you do need to go through this community standards process, that it is educational in nature. And so we won't sit there and like shake our finger at you and say, how dare you do this? We're hoping that you can learn something from the experience, from the meeting, and that we're also helping you learn from your mistake. And so I have lots of conversations with students about this, and we actually talk a lot about risk factors. And so students come in, they're super scared about the conversation, and I think that they can be kind of scary at times, because you feel like you've gotten in trouble. But we want to help you learn from whatever mistake you made, so that you're not making those mistakes again. Okay, so important information as we close up towards the end. What to pack. What I'm actually going to tell you a little bit more about is actually what not to pack, because that ends up being the most prominent. You should not bring toasters, lava lamps, candles, anything with an open flame, those Medusa lamps, because they get hot and they melt. Yeah, don't bring that stuff. I'm not sure when lava lamps came back into style, or glitter lamps. Those get too hot, and so they can cause fires if they're next to something. And so we do not allow lava lamps, glitter lamps. You can only have toasters if you live in an area with an apartment with a kitchen. Our first year students aren't doing that. And so like I said earlier, you should pack twin extra long sheets and blankets. You should bring shower shoes. We always recommend having some form of shower caddy to carry your stuff back and forth to shower. I always recommend for students to have some form of a bathrobe. You can walk down the hallway in a towel if you want. I think it's probably a little bit more comfortable in a bathrobe. But things also to pack: decor for your room, your clothes, computers, all those things that you want. You want to make sure that your residence hall room feels like home. So bring what you want and need in order to do so. What you shouldn't bring, though, is your pet. If you are approved through the Office of Disability Support Services to have an assistance animal, or if you have other approval needs through there. Otherwise, you can only have a fish in a 5-gallon tank. And so now if your cat's name Fish, that does not count. You can have a fish that has to live underwater in a tank. No turtles, only fish. And so let's not pack Fido. He doesn't need to come to campus, I promise. So move-in process. This photo is really fun and exciting, and it shows some of our RAs and some of our staff members getting ready to help students move in. Unfortunately, move-in will not look like that this year. So I apologize if this photo is misleading. Due to different precautions that we need to take this year, we will have an unassisted move-in. And so what that means is that when you arrive to campus on your assigned date and time frame, you and those folks that you are bringing with you to move in, you all will move in your stuff, just the group of you all. And so move-in is traditionally one of our most exciting days, and I hope that we're still able to make it a very exciting day for you, even if we have to adjust the way that it looks. We offer break housing, and so if, let's say, for Thanksgiving or winter break, spring break, you need to stay on campus, we traditionally offer break housing at no additional cost to the student. The student just needs to tell us that they are needing housing during that time frame. The returning student housing sign-up process. This is an important piece. I'm going to very briefly go over it because you're not going to remember a lot of it when it comes time. Our returning students sign up for housing in the spring. What happens is that the students each get a number. We refer to it as a rank. And so this rank is your GPA from the fall, your credits earned, and your semesters at Wingate. So if you brought in credits, then that number would be higher. Those numbers are created into a rank. You then are going to get, you and your friends are going to create a group for housing for the next year, and all of your ranks are going to be averaged together. So really, I tell you this now to say, the better you do academically, the better chances you get at choosing the housing that you want for the next years. Our students, it traditionally plays out. Our seniors have first choice, and then it kind of goes through till there, because they've got the more credits and semesters to average out to get the better rank. And so really each year your housing choices become more plentiful because you're having more options because your numbers continuing to change. And so we had a tour guide years ago that we overheard said, D's may get degrees, but it's not going to get you the best housing on campus. And it is very true, because that plays into it. So just remember that as you're taking your classes, the better that you do, the better options you could have for your housing next year. So that's all that I have for you. We are truly here to help you thrive. We want to make sure that we're making this a home away from home for you. And so if you have any additional questions, please feel free to reach out. On this slide has our office number and our office email, along with the different directors in our office's emails. And so again, my name is Jessica Head. It was a pleasure being with you all today. If you have additional questions or you just want to see what other folks are asking, we'll have 3 different info sessions this week. And so on Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, all at different times, we'll be offering Q&A sessions for you all. If you want to get on there, it'll be one of us from the office, one of our RDs and or ACs, and then also some of our RAs will be on there. So we'll be able to talk about many different levels about what the experience looks like, and then also just being able to ask general questions. And so if you need anything, again, please reach out. We are so looking forward to having you all here in August, and we're very excited that you've chosen to be a Bulldog. And so if you need anything, please just let us know. Thank you.